able to make it tonight. I'm here. Mr. Guadiana?
Here.
All right, we do have a quorum. That moves us to item C, our board norms. Number 1, actively listen to all perspectives.
Also move responding to concerns and questions as a unified board.
Model the professionalism we expect from all members of the district and community, customer service orientation.
Number 4, assume positive intent.
Be positive and responsive.
Okay, if everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the dear symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Okay, that moves us to item E, or Kiwanis Student of the Month presentation. And we do have our middle school student who is unable to make it due to a volleyball game, so we'll recognize her next month.
I'm Bayard and I'm here.
Oh, thank you. I'm here to present Kiwanis. We like doing this as one of our activities. Our Cobre High Kiwanis Student of the Month is Elizabeth Valdez.
Itzel
Valdez. Are you here? Yeah, come on. Come on, stand up here. I should know that because I did you for Terrific Kids out at, out San Lorenzo. Okay. Itzel Valdez has been selected as Cobre High Student of the Month for her outstanding leadership and academic achievement. A dedicated student, Itzel consists of positive examples for her peers through her strong work ethic, responsibility, and commitment to excellence. She not only excels in the classroom, but also demonstrates leadership qualities that inspire those around her, showing initiative and encouraging collaboration. Her determination, respect for others, and drive to succeed make her a role model within the Cobre community. We are proud to recognize Itzel for her accomplishments and the bright future she continues to build through her hard work and leadership. She participates in cross-country, wrestling, and softball. Her GPA is a staggering 4.3729. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And this year we did increase our gift certificate to $15 because we figured you couldn't do much with $10 anymore. Unfortunately, since you don't have anything here, we had to go with silver, but we did as close as we could with minis. All right.
Thank you and congratulations.
Wait, we needed.
Right.
Good job, Itzel.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Pfeiffer. Okay, that moves us to item 2, adoption of the agenda. Mr. Piper, do you have any recommendations?
No, not at this time, except the agenda is presented. The one thing I would like to know, Ms. Fletcher, next month's board meeting, I believe where it's going to be located at a school, is that correct? That's one thing that I wanted to make sure that everybody knew, since we have a good turnout, that next month's board meeting is at Hurley Elementary.
Okay.
So that way it's not just the announcement that goes out, because sometimes it's easy to miss that, but that's the only thing that I wanted to mention, because I think we set those out probably 2 months ago. So.
Okay, thank you for the reminder. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, that moves us to item 3, our student representative report.
Good afternoon. I'm Taylor McWhorter, the 2025-2026 student representative for Cobre High School. From Cobre High School, there's been a lot of complaints from the students about the school parking lot. A lot of students want to paint their parking spots for the junior class fundraiser, but many pieces of the parking lot are missing, lots of cracks and extreme holes. I have heard some students speak about upgrades to the school itself, not just technology-wise, but the building. Students are starting to get excited about homecoming on the 27th, the football games, volleyball games, and cross country. Everyone seems to be back in their routine of school and getting adapted to having new teachers. Mrs. Jimenez has been doing great, as well as the new librarian, Miss Waldrop, and the new band director, Mr. Rachel. Some disappointment has been expressed over the cancellation of the Cobre Silver game on the 12th. Many students understand the need to have our players' well-being as our top priority. Overall, we are thankful for Mr. Gropp and Ms. Provencio for making this school year start off with ease and keeping our school safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe we could provide a little bit of, well, it's not an agenda item, but there are things that prohibit us from doing capital projects such as fixing the parking lot. And that is that we don't qualify for using capital funds for that purpose because we're behind on PR and several others. It affects us, anything having to do with construction.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. That moves us to item 4, public input. Is there anyone that would like to give public input on item A, agenda items? Okay, anything online, Caitlin? Right. Is there anyone that would like to give public input on items of concern? Okay. Anyone online? All right, thank you. That moves us to item 5, new business. Item A, discussion regarding adding Dr. Abe Almendares to Howie Morales Stadium. We have Dr. Luis Quinones and some of the other gentlemen that wanted to speak.
Thank you, President Big A. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing well. I love the nostalgia that's going around this room because I used to go to elementary school here a long time ago, and I think some of these folks did too. Plus, I was your public relations director in the building next door, and the school board that hired me, Mr. Guadiana, was on that board. There was Mr. Ojinaga, Roque Garcia, Art Salas, and I forget the fourth one under Superintendent Benny Trujillo, a long time ago, as you can tell probably. But anyway, so I do have a very rewarding experience here at Cobre. I became a teacher later on, and it's very, like I say, very rewarding. The people that have accompanied me have outstanding athletes back in the day, and they also wonderful community members and very successful in their careers and family. We have Mr. Pete Torres, we have Mr. Dicky Richard Zamora, and Mr. Ricky Silva. So they may want to say something along with this. This proposal has been going around in my head since the 1990s, and we never acted on it. And we had a baseball reunion in 2023 where we started talking about this a little bit more seriously. And the proposal at hand was, we thought that it would be very appropriate. Let's see what you all feel at a later time, very appropriate to add the name of Dr. Abe Almendares. He was a coach he was hired in 1967, and he coached till 1975, and he is the person that put Cobre baseball on the map back in the day. There was a certain seriousness that was elevated, and we as ball players, we followed suit and we played for him, and he did an excellent job. He's 83 years old now. But, they say that, a foundation for somebody's success in life is the role models, your teachers, your mentors, the people that guide you and that help us through through our successful careers. We always look back at people like that. Dr. Armendariz is one of these individuals. He was went on to get his doctorate after Cobre. He was a teacher here, and he was also a football coach and, of course, baseball coach. And Cobre became well known throughout the state because of the baseball program. Needless to say, you have most of that information in the letter that I presented to you, so I don't want to repeat that if it's not necessary. But there was a very positive energy with Dr. Armendariz, and then the Booster Club at that time, and the community, the parents, everybody got behind the baseball program. At that point, the vehicles would park right outside the stadium and overlook the stadium. It was incredible. If you made a good play, boy, there was a lot of honking and everything. Of course, if you made a bad play, I don't remember us ever making a bad play, but that's another thing to me. But, Coach Armendariz, we think, would be a very appropriate name to join. I have spoken to Dr. Howie Morales, Lieutenant Governor Morales, for about a year and a half about this. And he hasn't given an official endorsement, but at the same time, he never said no either. We always had friendly discussions. They're very good friends, Howie Morales and Abe Armendariz. Abe was his mentor when Howie went for his PhD at New Mexico State University. So be that as it may, we'd like to make the proposal that the Cobre School Board accept or discuss the appropriateness, and we think that there's nobody more highly qualified than Dr. Abe Armendariz. He's 83 years old now, and he's probably going to outlive us all, but time is not on our side. But I know that the individuals also wanted to say and make some comments about our wonderful coach.
Good evening. Dr. Armendariz is, to this date, 3 years ago, he was still playing ball. And so he was a great athlete, and he played hardball, softball, and I'm very honored to be here with Mr. Joel Ponzio, because me and Joel played a lot of ball, both hardball and softball, through the time that Dr. Armendariz was playing with us. So, he instilled a lot of to us to be good players. He was tough, and he was a good athlete himself in school and college. And I just want to say, like Dr. Quinones was mentioning, you would consider having his name up on the field. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name's Pete Torres, and I had the privilege of playing baseball under Coach Armendariz, Dr. Armendariz. He picked me for the team in 1969. So do your math, that tell you how old all of us are. During those days, way back in the mid-'60s, Cobre had a baseball team, but actually it wasn't a program. It was just a team. Coach Armendariz took it over, and he made it into a legacy and institution. After we were fortunate to play for three state championships together, with us three, with him, and we fought and fought until we finally did it in 1971. Okay, then that's when the tradition and the legacy started under Coach Armendariz. Everybody wanted to play Cobre baseball. Like Dr. Quinones mentioned that we became notorious for baseball all through the state. A lot of big schools wanted to play us because of the program that Coach Armendariz. And after he left, the tradition continued because of him. Ricky Silva, he's another state champion from Cobre under Coach Nelson. Yeah, Coach. Then there was other coaches, and as a matter of fact, I have 3 sons that transferred from Silver to play Cobre baseball, just because of the recognition of Cobre baseball. 2 of them played for the state championship, lost. Another one actually won it under Coach Larry, I forgot his name. Anyways, Schnauzer, yeah. So Coach Almendarez started the tradition and the legacy, okay? Nothing against Coach Almendarez, because my son played, my youngest son played for the state championship under Coach Morales. But like we said, the tradition and the legacy started under Coach Almendarez. And we feel that it's only proper that he is recognized with Coach and Lieutenant Governor Morales. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Rick Silva, and I graduated in 75. Mr. Armendariz was a mentor mostly to me. You know, he was a good baseball coach. I was honored to play for him for 4 years. I was an 8th grader. I was myself and another friend of mine, Castañon, we were the first 8th graders to ever play varsity ball, and we did. Out of those 4 years, we had a 3rd place, 2 state runner-ups, and 1 state championship. But because Mr. Armendariz sank that into us, that we were to be peers and our grades first, huh? And there's some kids here that think baseball is all that it is, but it wasn't. Coach Armendariz, it was getting your grades up there and being a mentor and contributing to your society, be a citizen of our county, you know, help out, come back and help. The year that we won state, it was Coach Armendariz and it was Coach Schnauzer and Coach Rodriguez. And the reason Coach Armendariz left that year was because he was going to an internship for his studies, which was awesome. But, you know, we were under him still. He came back the following year, and we were in the state championship. But just to let you know, Coach Armendariz, his number 1 priority was contribute to your community and do well in school and education. So for me, it was awesome because my parents, none of them played or could afford to come to the games. They were strictly working, trying to make a life for our siblings. You know, there was 6 of us. So, but Coach Armendariz kind of took everybody under his hand and made sure they were doing well and would check on you as your teachers, academics were doing well. So anyway, it is very appropriate for Coach Dr. Armendariz to be there. And I want to thank Dr. Quiñones for presenting that letter to you guys. I think it was very well written, and I think everything was in there that needed to be addressed. So thank you, board members.
Thank you. I'm going to direct you to our superintendent because last month we did have a proposal as well for a name change. But Dr. Almendarez and his wife Emma are very nice people. When I was a student at Western, student regent and student president, they were really big alumni, and they helped with the golf tournament, and they were inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Emma was sharing a story about me being a homecoming queen back in the day, and she was showing me pictures. So very nice people. Thank you again.
Any other comment from the board before? Certainly I do. And that's only half of their legacy and half of these guys, especially Mr. Quiñones, Dr. Quiñones' legacy. They've been involved in education very deeply here at Cobre and in Deming and Las Cruces, and he was a superintendent of the charter school, Academia de Dolores Huerta. And that school was pretty innovative in the sense that half of the time the students would speak Spanish and half of the time they would speak English in the classes, which really demonstrates the ownership, and I'm sure that is something that would have been appreciated here as well. But anyway, Dr. Armendariz has a heart that is visible just by looking at him. he commits himself to the students, and he's a big part of the community, and he demonstrates what we should be like. And it's something that I would hope to emulate as I go forward. The challenge that comes between the process is I don't think we have a policy on renaming buildings. We entertained the idea of naming the Performing Arts Center, but I don't think, was it acted upon? No. Okay, so we didn't set a precedent. So I think our first call to order is to designate a policy that shows how it is we're going to do it. And I know there's one other person that's been circulated as a contender for this, and he was a baseball player. I'm thinking of his name right now. I mentioned to you.
The name you mentioned to me was Antonio Esqueda.
Yeah. And he played very well here in Cobre. And he was actually drafted to a major league team. The Oakland A's.
He played rookie ball for the California Angels.
And unfortunately, he was drafted to the military, into the military, and he died in the Vietnam War. So that's a good, that's a contender that I think is worth thinking about. But we need to, certainly I support Dr. Almendarez, and I would like to see some kind of public participation in making the selection. So I hope we can go forward and developing a policy, and then inviting you guys to come back and make the presentation there, as well as your family members of the Esqueda family that I'm sure would want to do the other. And maybe that can be a combination as well. If not, maybe we should consider a Hall of Fame.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to take a look at policies and stuff. What I can do is I can get some of those from various people around the state. I know Rio Rancho Public Schools actually has named one of their high schools after their current superintendent, Dr. Tucci. So I know there are some policies out there and stuff, and we just want to make sure that we do what's right. I was very pleased to see that you had visited with Lieutenant Governor Morales. Because I think there was, it's been there for a while, and I think if it's a combined thing like that, we need to make sure we don't offend somebody as well as going forward honoring people. So let me go ahead and I'll get some of that stuff together, and maybe we can put a policy thing together for discussion for the next board meeting. Okay?
Does that sound good? And Dr. Quinones will be in contact, or Mr. Piper's office will be in contact? Okay.
All right.
Just wanted to say thank you very much for allowing us to present and for your consideration. If there are any funds involved in all that, the committee is already committed to raising any funds that are necessary for any changes that occur. And congratulations for being on board. Superintendent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, that moves us to item B, discussion regarding bond community meetings.
To set up some sort of schedule. One of the things I'm looking at is parent-teacher conferences. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Bye.
Good seeing you guys. Take care.
I want to set a schedule to where we can possibly have some of these, I think, parent-teacher conferences. I've started visiting with some of the staff that can have maybe a table set up at the front of the school during parent-teacher conferences. I visited with one of the school counselors and asked if she'd be there available to pass out information about the bond during parent-teacher conferences, specifically the elementary. I think there's a much better turnout from parents and stuff at the elementary schools. So I think we'll start with doing some of that. I want to schedule some meetings. I don't know what your availability is, if you want me to just schedule them, and if you can attend, you can attend, or if we need to at least set up a few specific ones, and then maybe hold some others, as the opportunity arises. So.
Well, evenings work better for me when I'm done with my work day. around 4.
Okay,
But if you have to schedule them, I understand.
okay,
So I'm pretty flexible.
okay.
I'll be there.
Okay. And that's what I think, more than anything, and I think we'll just hold a variety. I hope that our next board meeting at Hurley will have some public there. I'm going to really ask that they have parents come to the board meeting in support. And once I visit with Ms. Martinez, I think if she can recruit, ensure that there's a lot of people there, I'd like a board update. And we'll talk a little bit about that later on the agenda when I get to some PSFA stuff. But I need a little direction from you as well with the PSFA. But I think bottom line is we've got to push the bond. It needs to be passed. And if we want to have any money at all to match for a new high school, then, this is critical. And our SB 9, that's what we operate with. And Mr. Ryan can tell you about that. I mean, that's essential. And it's not an increase in taxes, it's just a renewal. But that's where we pay for a lot of our maintenance and upkeep and that as well. So we need to, get those messages out and we'll start doing some of that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
There's still a lot to discuss on the bond issuance, and typically what's done before you go out and issue a bond is there's a cost analysis of things that need to be addressed, and that's how you come up with the amount that you're putting on the bond. We didn't do that. We didn't do that at all. We didn't look at the 5-year plan. We didn't ask for a list of needs in each of the buildings, nor cost them out. So given the unsure nature of the construction because of the audits being so far behind, we don't have a plan B. And that can't be, I don't know, we can develop that in between now and then. But I think the probability of not being in compliance with the audits, at least this year, is extremely high, unless you have news to tell us otherwise. So there's a protocol to involve the community much earlier than what we're doing now, and that's disappointing. And that's not on your plate. That's on us. That's certainly on us. Not following the protocols that we should have for developing a quantity, especially a dollar amount of what we're expecting to deal with, and putting there a list that we can be held accountable for, although accountability seems like something we're trying to evade. So that's a challenge that we face. And I think the better we address it and ignore it rather than ignoring it would give us a better face with the county, with the district.
Okay. And I can tell you, I've visited with Mr. Hawkins with Silver City. They're looking at a new school in Cliff, and the construction costs are outrageous. I think the high school that was built in Lordsburg was approximately 8, maybe 9 years ago, was $17 million. The one they're looking at, Cliff, is going to be pushing, PSFA saying 55, and Mr. Hawkins is saying it's going to be close to $60 million. And the facility that we would be looking at would be larger than that. The bond's important. Not trying to dodge anything, but we have to have that because there's always a required match. Now, there are waivers and stuff that are available as well, but to qualify for those waivers, you need to be bonded to a certain capacity that says, hey, you know what, you're bonded to this capacity. We can, you can qualify for a waiver. And I can visit more about that right now, or I can visit more about that when we talk about some PSFA stuff. But they said we are sitting in a prime spot for that. Our audits do present a problem, but I think we're on our way to fixing some of that. And like I said, that's something that we need to visit a little bit about as well. So, and we can do that, I guess, maybe under the PSFA agenda item?
Sure.
And can you speak to the accountability? I mean, I want the public to know that your staff is not here at central office, just not doing anything. And I think it was alluded to that. But your staff is working 24/7, right? Getting those audit items out.
We have. A matter of fact, I visited with Mr. Ryan, and he can tell you I'm in his office probably first thing every morning before people get here, and we're looking at stuff. I have some information that, it was collected, maybe 15 minutes before the meeting, and I put together, I'm sorry it's not in your packet, but I'll get you a copy here when we start talking about PSFA stuff, and it's some concerns that have been raised. But, we're trying to figure this stuff out. The one thing that I would like to say is, let's look forward. I don't want to look back anymore. The back is the past. I can't fix the back. I can't. All I can do is move forward. And I believe we've made some progress there. Yes, there were some faults. I don't disagree. But I'll tell you what, the staff is working hard to get some of this stuff done. And I'm looking forward to moving forward. Because, some of that stuff in the past, you know what? Why, it's important to learn from our mistakes. I think we have. But let's move forward. And let's have some positive, output going forward.
I agree with you, Mr. Piper. I think we just need to go forward, not backwards, and look back. We need to go forward for the sake of the kids and the school.
And having been involved with the audit committee for as long as I was, I saw the failures that we were in providing the information on a timely method. And there was no correction to that. And looking back is important to have accountability. If you want to erase all your mistakes, then at least you have to bring them up and discuss them, and then show what it is that you're doing to correct them. And so far, we're following the same path. And the incredible need is, the reality is, as you mentioned, the cost for building is cost prohibitive to any other option than the waivers that we can get that are available now for the amount of money that's needed. Otherwise, we would have to contribute 50% of the costs out of our general fund for constructing a building. And if we don't get this to the part that there's still money available through this waiver process, we're not going to get a new building, period. And so having the discipline of looking back to see where we are and what's going to happen with the audits, as you mentioned, the bond rating is going to be critical. Our last audit was one that was not a good one, the one that was finally done. It gave us basically qualified audit, meaning we're going to get probably a C-level bond, would that be? Bond rating?
Oh, I don't know.
You got any idea? But it's certainly not going to be an A rating, probably not even a B rating.
Okay.
That would impact the interest rates that we would have to pay. And again, we don't have general fund money to go into deep pockets.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe our district match is 34% in a project with PSFA. And I can check and verify that, but as my recollection is, I think our district match is 34% and they pay about 66%, except for the waiver process. And I can tell you, Lordsburg, we paid $1 million out of an $18 million project. And that $1 million is because we remodeled our district office down there as well. So the waiver process is there. I've used it before. I know what it takes. And it takes some relationships. It takes spending some time with senators, representatives. Senator John Arthur Smith was key to that project. And, as will, our locals here. And having Lieutenant Governor Morales, it's key that we, take advantage and take advantage of those. and build those relationships, because they can tell you who we need to talk to. One of the other things, talk about board-wise and board relations, Joe Guillen sits on the PSCOC, which Public School Capital Outlay, and he's there. I presented to him when I did the Lordsburg project. He's been on there a long time. And, the relationships that we have with all those people will definitely be a big asset as we move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Piper. That moves us to item C, discussion regarding specific goals, projects of the proposed bond issue.
I think number one priority is the new high school. If we can pass this, we need to conserve. We need to pass this bond, and we need to conserve with the idea of this is what we're saving for, and this is what we're going to do. I'm confident that we can fix our audit stuff, and move forward. But we've got to have that money. We've got to have that bond, and I mean it's going to take some planning. Number one of the things they've looked at is a combination of high school, middle school. We can't give up gymnasiums, and PSFA will not fund a gymnasium. But that's critical to our kids and making sure that they have the facilities to utilize to where they can get home, at a reasonable hour at night. And that's one of the things I agree with. We need to hold those public meetings and let them know. What do we set the campus up as? We've got about $300,000 in school security funding. That school security funding can also be tied into maybe some bond issues. And how do we design this? Can we put up some fencing? Can we add more cameras? And so those are the type of things that's going to take a lot of work. And quite honestly, we're a ways away from committing to a new high school. But I think that's the number one priority. I think it's the number one need. I think it's the number one thing that the community will support. And I mean, I can tell you right now, it's over 225,000 square feet of facilities that we have now. The numbers that PSFA ran for me when I met with them would be about 100,000 square feet. So you're looking at a facility that's half the size of Cobre High School and Snell Middle School combined. Now, there is some exceptions to that. They would allow us to keep the Performing Arts Center. I believe they'll allow us to keep the gymnasiums. May take a little bit of remodeling and stuff. But if we can get a waiver for the high school, then maybe we take that bond money for upgrades and stuff for the facilities that PSFA will not cover. That's a lot of acronyms. So, I'm optimistic. Like I said, I've done this. We fought to keep the gymnasium in Lordsburg, and we were able to do that. And actually able to remodel it. Some of the things we did were minor cosmetic things. One of them was opening up the concession stand where the parents and the staff that ran the concession stand could still see the game. I mean, to me, it was one of the things, you always had problems getting people to run a concession stand, but opening that up allowed that. So, but that's, some of those things are the things that your district bond money is going to have to pay for if you can get that waiver.
At the risk of going back, I recognize that you stepped into this, and I don't mean to imply that the reasons we're as far behind have anything to do with you. I appreciate everything you're doing, and you're taking it on a track that I would have loved to see a year ago. We haven't had public meetings to discuss this at all. We talk about construction of a middle school and high school combined without any public input. And it seems to be that's the direction that PSFA wants to go, because they've done that and they see that it works in some places. But every district is different, and without community input, I wouldn't want to go down that path unless it is supported by the community. And the other thing is that you mentioned the use of the bond money in other capacities if it is that PFSA builds a building and we do get that waiver. But they have mentioned from the very beginning the 10 mil criteria is based on our contribution, will be based as our contribution to the capital project. So there won't be any money left from the bond issue for projects, at least not at that point. And they were talking about $8 million. I still have a worry that our 10 mil that we achieved includes the technology bonds, which they were looking at all bond up to 10 mil, not including technology bonds.
And I believe that's lower now. I wanted to say, let me get the correct information.
Okay.
Before I state something. Let me do that. And there is that, but they said we were setting right where we needed to be. They checked that stuff when I was up there and met with I met with the entire executive staff when I met with them. And they're in the process of renaming a new executive director, so there's a little bit of confusion and stuff going on right now. But they said we were setting where we needed to be. We were at the capacity we needed to be to qualify for waivers. So let me get that information, and I'll forward it to you guys later.
Please clarify that part of the 10 mil includes the technology bonds, which cannot be used for construction.
And we can hold some community meetings, I'd be happy to. And I think if we talk about a new school, we're going to get some input, and we're going to get some participation.
That's the only way you're going to pass the bond.
So,
If you don't involve the community.
so. Okay.
All right, that moves us to item D, discussion for posting administrative contracts on the website, specifically administration, principals, and dean of students. Mr. Piper, if you can speak to this, please.
Yes, legal counsel advised that they suggested that we list positions rather than names. I think the district's small enough that if you list a position, they're going to know who it is anyway. I guess that's up to you guys as a board. And if you decide that you want names on it, then I can confirm with legal counsel that it won't cause a problem. But if you would like it by position, we can get that done this week.
Well, it's not an action item, so if we wanted to do that, we'll have to make it an action item.
Okay.
But I'm okay with how we currently have it with our
Salary schedules?
Yeah, salary schedules. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. With our salary schedules.
And I want to make a comment because the genesis of this issue comes from my request to have all salaries posted on our website of all the Cobre employees, and my concerns about the salary tables in terms of the impact that they have. And to that, I really wanted it to be a vote, just a yes or no vote on that, because it's a question of whether we feel that we should provide public information to the public or whether we should make it more difficult. And for instance, I want to do an analysis of what we're paying our administrators, and that's what specifically this part was. And after looking at the salary schedules, although I haven't gotten the salaries that I've requested to, the amount of salaries for administration, all I've seen is the salary schedules that I looked up.
I provided that on an email Friday.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
To the entire board.
received it.
Haven't seen that, though.
Okay.
I can still make the statement based on the pattern of that one salary schedule for administrators. Our highest paid administrator is the middle school principal. And I don't know how, I can see how it happened because of the way that it was constructed, but it was a salary schedule, which all of them were presented with the budget and never really presented to the board prior to the budget being presented. And that salary scale does not really take into account the difference between the number of days. The middle school principal gets paid about $10 more an hour than does the superintendent. And the middle school principal gets paid about $15 more an hour if you look at it per the number of days that they work than the high school principal. And I do not understand how we could have come to that kind of conclusion, rather than sweeping it under the rug by saying, yeah, let's just put this agenda item up there and we won't discuss the impact of that. I bring it up and we'll proceed with a venue of going to the newspaper, whatever the case is. If we cannot have these open discussions in the board meeting, the request of a board member should not go unattended for agenda items. And this represents exactly that.
So according to policy, the superintendent sets the board agenda in consultation with the board president. The salary schedules were posted. We discussed them. The salaries are set by PED. In the email that Mr. Piper sent us, it shows you exactly what PED says the salary is for administrators, and it lists it specifically for high school, middle school, elementary, dean of students. And so I think you need to take a look at that email so you can have a better understanding of the salaries instead of throwing out false information.
This isn't false information, and I'll pursue it further.
You've yet
the
to.
point of the matter is
I'm not
that
done talking, sir. You've yet to look at the email.
You said that already.
The email was sent on Friday, and now you're over here giving false information like you tend to do.
No, I'm not. And the other part is that the superintendent nor the president of the board has the privilege of going and taking a board member's request for an agenda item off the table. They have that perspective on anything else that comes up on the board agenda that they decide is relevant or not relevant. Or
Mr. Piper provided the information to the whole board in an email. I'm not going to continue to argue with you, sir.
it is an open discussion that needs to happen in the public meeting, and that cannot be circumvented by either you or Mr. Piper.
Okay. That moves us to item 6, action items. Item A, approval of August 18th, 2025 regular board meeting minutes and September 8th, 2025 special meeting minutes. Did everyone get a chance to review them? Yes. Any questions? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to approve. I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to item B, second reading and approval of policy advisories. Let's start with 270 copyright compliance.
270 copyright compliance is the same copyright stuff. What they've done is they've added in some of the stuff that we're running into due to this artificial intelligence stuff. It's amazing, you know, what it comes up with. And so that's where they're looking at copyright stuff, is if this artificial intelligence ends up providing information, you know, realize that that stuff's copyrighted. So this is all developed, approved by the attorneys with the School Boards Association Policy Service. And I would recommend, are you going to vote on these separately or is it combined?
I think we should do individual.
Okay, so I would recommend approval of advisory 270, which is the copyright compliance. And like I said, what they've added in is really specifically related to artificial intelligence.
Okay, and I didn't receive any comment on the advisory. Any other discussion? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve policy advisory 270, copyright compliance.
I move.
Okay, I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to policy 271, use of technology resources in instruction, use of technology resources in instruction regulation, and then use of technology resources in instruction exhibit.
So there's basically three pieces of this one advisory, and it's use of the technology resources that is basically, this is the instruction piece that the teachers are looking at. And so it just gives them guidance and once again, developed by the attorneys. And then, like I said, there's the three pieces. One of them is just the regulation, which they always tend to put in there for reference. And then as well, the exhibit piece that's right there, which is basically a user agreement that they can look at and then sign off on. So, and those are the three pieces of the Policy Advisory 271, and I would recommend their approval.
Okay, I did not receive any comment on these either. I'll entertain a motion to approve Policy Advisory 271.
I move.
I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to Policy Advisory 272, Use of Artificial Intelligence.
And this is a totally new policy. If you'll take a look at it, every bit of it's underlined, which means this is all new. And it's just the use of artificial intelligence. I know I was at the opening day meeting at Snell Middle School, and the teachers talked about, hey, they do use artificial intelligence within their classroom. But they also talked about the value of doing your own research and making sure what happens and what you get is accurate. The other thing is, we know how students write. And if they're trying to produce a paper through artificial intelligence, the teachers they're going to catch it. They know that, hey, this is the way a student writes, and all of a sudden, you know what, this kid doesn't even know what this word means, for them to be putting stuff like that on paper. And so this use of artificial intelligence just helps guide the teachers, helps guide the district in what's going on with, this is also new for everybody. This artificial intelligence, I don't like it. My phone listens to conversations and I get stuff that I don't know about. And it's like, where did this come from? So I think it may have some value. Some of the teachers use it. One of the teachers, the music teacher, said he used it because it was easy to get music and stuff off of immediately, to where if he had to order stuff, it might take, a little longer to do that stuff. So I think there's some teachers using it. I think they're being very careful with the way they use it, and they've set some expectations for the students as well. So I would recommend approval of Policy 272, the use of artificial intelligence. And this is one of the things that I'm sure we're going to see modified, possibly even more than once a year as issues arise.
Thank you, Mr. Piper. I didn't receive any comment on this policy either. So I'll entertain a motion to approve Policy Advisory 272, Use of Artificial Intelligence.
I move.
Okay, I'll second.
Discussion.
Any discussion?
I didn't see anything that would have like a way to arbitrate. If a student is accused of using that, what process would it be? Is it just the teacher against the student's word, or will it be something that would be perhaps raised up to the principal level or the counselor level, or somebody else that's that could arbitrate that?
I think it's something that's going to have to be discussed, and I think it's one of the things that you probably haven't even come across it yet, have you? A couple times?
So last year, we had a good teacher, had a student do a book report on a book she actually wrote, and the kid did AI. They talked about characters that were used in the book.
So
So I think what Mr. Piper said was spot on, is if a teacher thinks that a student used it, they can go back to old papers and see, if a kid could jump from ninth grade level to master's level. And our teachers know our students pretty well, so I think, relying on the teacher for that, because the teachers know what level our students are on that. But it's tricky. It's a tricky thing, because when the student starts out with it, and continues with it, how do we know? So it's tough.
Caitlin?
As the district technology coordinator, now that we have a policy in place from the School Board Association, I can now write the policy for individual use by artificial intelligence in the classroom that we've needed for about 2.5 years. I always like to defer to the lawyers first, and now that we've got their response, I can write a policy that will give us direct access to, okay, this is how we deal with it. Just like we have for those who might misuse our email system or misuse our internet for gain or other purposes other than education. I can now write an AI policy that meets those requirements in the policy that you have before you now, and can go from my desk out to the principals, out to the teachers, so they know how to handle things. We've been talking about this in IT circles here in the state of New Mexico ever since I arrived here 2 years ago. Santa Fe Public Schools, Rio Rancho Public Schools, Albuquerque Public Schools, they've all been dealing with this on a very, very detailed level. And I said, as soon as we get guidance from the State School Board Association, then I will deal with it. So now that we've got this guidance, I can bring something to the board, maybe not next board meeting, but before the Christmas break, that gives us a defined policy in our IT procedure and policy now.
Thank you, Caitlin. I look forward to reading it and you using your expertise to draft that.
One more comment, please. Could you have more of a collaborative effort in putting together the policy so we don't have to go over it again if you already get a hold of the principals?
And that's was part of the plan, was to get it out into the principal's hands before I bring it to you.
Cool.
So that they understand what's going on, and they approve of what's going on, and then I bring it to you for final approval.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin. All right, that moves us to, I'm sorry, there was a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That moves us to item C, approval of bills. These did go before the Finance Committee. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move.
I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to item D, approval of the PED fourth quarter report. This was also presented to us in the Finance Committee. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move.
Okay, I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to item E, approval of budget decrease 24,160 rural and low income schools. This was also presented in finance. Mr. Ryan, if you don't mind speaking to it.
Yes, we have a budget decrease that needs to be put in place. The PED did a final allocation on Fund 24,160 rural and low income schools. And it's kind of early in the year. They usually do this about January or so, but they already did this one. So this final allocation is going to be a decrease of $599.53. And the only thing that we are using this budget for is, it's a total budget of $32,667, and we are using it to fund interventionists in the elementary schools. We're using this along with other sources of funds to keep our interventionists employed, and since we lost the CLSD grant last year, so this is just one of the areas. So there's just a couple line items in here that are be cut that where there was a little excess that I could shave off the top to make this decrease.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move.
Okay, I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to item F, approval of initial budget 27,114, structured literacy and early literacy. This also went before the Finance Committee.
Okay, this one, we were notified of this successful grant back in May, but PED didn't put it out there for us to approve until now. They sent the paperwork, the approval process late last month. And this grant award is for $125,000. And this goes along the same line. This is another source of funds we're using to employ reading interventionists in our elementary schools. And that's just part of the whole funding process to keep them employed. So this goes for the salaries and benefits for those interventionists.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move.
Okay, I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, that moves us to item G, approval of budget transfer 27-149, pre-K initiative. This also went before the Finance Committee. Mr. Ryan?
Yes, I'm proposing a budget transfer. This transfer will go between functions. It will go between the 1,000 function, which is instruction, to the 2,400 function, which is for school administration. And this is in the pre-K grant 27-149. On this grant, we are allowed to take 10% of each of our principals' salary out of this grant. So we were just a little bit short when the budget was built. We were short $5,209. So this is just making a transfer from one function into another in order to cover the 10% of these principal salaries at the elementary schools.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move.
I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to item 7, our Finance Committee report. So we just approved all the stuff we discussed in the Finance Committee. We also did the fourth quarter report, and we looked at credit card statements. Do you want to add anything else, Mrs. Harden?
We discussed into detail some of the spending.
Okay. That concludes our Finance Committee report. Would you like to give an update on Audit Committee, or would you like Mr. Piper to do that?
Mr. Piper, could you?
Yeah, basically, just discuss where we were at audit-wise. And basically looking for the possible extension that we had at a special board meeting, and a dollar amount that would possibly be approved by the board. And as of today, have not heard anything, so I think that is still in negotiation between legal counsel and the auditor.
Question. What is the time frame for providing the 23 audit?
I don't know, Mr. Ryan, what exactly are we missing on that 23? We're pretty close, right?
Yeah, there's just a few items outstanding that we're in the process of submitting to him right now. So everything should be submitted here pretty quick with the remainder. And this is, everything that's discussed in the audit committee is confidential. So we can't get into very much detail on that one.
Timelines for submissions are not confidential. And so I would ask, is there an expected date for the submission? And if the answer is no, the answer is no. But
well, I mean, it just depends. We get,
it's an ongoing.
Yeah, I get
it's
new
back
stuff
and forth all the time.
Almost every week from the auditors that they want more information. So it ends up sort of as an unknown because we don't know. They keep requesting more stuff. And in fact, I sent an email to one of the employees, Luis, who's always been real prompt with answering emails. and it's been almost a week, and I have not had an answer from him. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I was working on an email to the auditor this afternoon that I will end up sending today or first thing in the morning, stating, is there something else besides what we have provided? I know I visited with Mr. Ryan about the capital assets, and that's one of the things that's, that's been one of the major things that we've been working on. And I know we're getting closer, but we'll just have to keep hammering away at it. So, like I said, I think just last week I got another list of things that was requested, and I believe Ms. Fletcher submitted some of that today. And so we keep knocking off the list, and it's like Mr. Ryan said, we knock some stuff off, and then all of a sudden we get a new list with several more items. And I realize that, through the process, what she finds may turn up something else, and we're happy to provide it and get it. But I can tell you one of the items that we looked for today, basically started first thing this morning, and it didn't come till 4 o'clock this afternoon. And that's how long, we're in the records room digging through boxes and boxes of stuff. And there's the time where previous people that did some filing just stuck the stuff in a box. It's not sorted by date. It's not sorted by check number, by PO number. And so that's the real challenge is, we're having to dig through boxes and boxes of stuff. But we found stuff that I think will definitely help. And that's what I want to get to her. But, and I'll present it to you here in a little bit as well. But finally, I think we've figured out, where possibly some of this stuff is. And I'm excited about that. So moving forward, like I said, I think we've made some good progress.
And I just have some more questions. The 22 audit was completed and submitted, and the board never saw it in terms of reviewing the corrective action that was going to be taken. And along those lines, we have not received anything in terms of what's going to be done to ensure that these corrective actions are formed, as well as determining as to whether they're effective. Is there any intention on looking at where we're at in terms of the recommendations that we submitted? How we responded to the recommendation?
And I think part of the issue moving forward is we're still dealing with some of the past stuff. So we will probably have some repeated findings that are the same thing. And we will just, take a look at those and we'll address them. As the audit committee will sit down, they'll look at the findings, we'll visit with the auditor and come up with a plan. And I think it's a plan between not only the board and the audit committee, but also the auditor, and, asking for suggestions on what to do. But definitely want it fixed. We've got to have it fixed.
Would the 23 audit then be coming to, as the corrective action is being determined, will it come to the board for review?
I think it can. We'll have to check with.
That's the function of the audit committee.
Yeah. So, the audit committee.
No committee is empowered to make decisions. They're only empowered to make recommendations to the board.
But the board doesn't make those decisions.
What's that?
The board doesn't make those decisions.
That's why we vote, and those are decisions.
I believe those are functions of your staff. You as the...
Well, we as a staff will tell you what we have the capacity to do, and we'll make recommendations. And I think there's been some stuff that's been done to correct that stuff.
And I think you also sent an email out about some of the internal controls that you...
Yes.
If I'm correct, I think we all received an email.
Yeah. There's, like I said, there's some things that we've done. I know staff and I worked I worked myself 5 hours on the email and the information that went out on Friday. And I know 2 of my other staff worked in excess of an hour each, pulling information together for me. So, we're trying to provide the information and get it to you in a timely manner. but sometimes we have to wait for responses from whether it's NIPSIA, some of the other people that we're getting information from. Sometimes it takes them a while to get back to us.
To item number 9, board members report. Mrs. Harden, would you like to report on anything?
Yes, I just want to thank Mr. Piper. Thank you, Mr. Piper, and let's just go forward. Thank you for your staff, all the hard work that they do. Thank you for all the principals, the teachers, everybody that works for Cobre Schools. I thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Harden. Mr. Guadiana, is there anything you'd like to report?
Sure. There was a newspaper article in the Daily Press that reflected the special audit. And I provided some information to that article and it was posted, and I believe very well represented. However, there's some interpretation that it implied I did make statements that would reference the current conditions, and I stand by those statements, particularly as they pertain to the board role in managing the finances and going forward, particularly with the bond issues. But there were certainly some performance improvements that are noteworthy that weren't part of that article. And certainly I would apologize for those that interpreted that to be me thinking that this office is not doing what it's supposed to do. There's still some room for improvement, but there's still a lot of good things that have happened. When the audit report mentioned the HR stuff, there was nothing in HR. There were no personnel files that were noteworthy to say that they're complete. And to see that now being taken care of is a monumental effort. Is there still room to go? There's still room to go. The test scores have been going up, particularly in the high school. And the curriculum now is integrated vertically and horizontally. And before, there were many times classrooms didn't have books. There was no curriculum. And so there's tremendous progress being made. But I still think the board is the area where there needs to be improvement with the administration on being fiscally responsible and being accountable. And the mantra of let's go forward is counter being accountable.
Okay, thank you. I'd just like to, I'm looking forward to homecoming. I hope Miss Carol Heredia asked me to judge, or maybe the board can do a float. But I always look forward to seeing the floats and the kids. Sad about the Cobre Silver game, but I'm looking forward to homecoming. I also want to address the article in the newspaper. I didn't make comment on it because the board is not allowed to make comment, so I referred it to the office of the superintendent. We're not supposed to speak out as one member because we're a group of people. That's one of our rules. And so I think our staff is doing a tremendous job. You know, I've been on the board the second longest, and I feel like we've made improvement with our staff. Mr. Piper, you're doing a wonderful job. I know being a superintendent is not easy. I recently attended a training in Las Cruces, and they have mentioned all the vacancies that are across New Mexico and the turnover of principals and superintendents. So I don't envy your job, but I just appreciate you taking the initiative, and I really appreciate your staff who work day in and day out to make sure our staff and our students, most importantly, our students are taken care of. At the end of the day, it's about our kids and their education. So thank you. That moves us to item 10, our superintendent report. Mr. Piper.
Okay. Personnel update. I have a list here, fresh off the press this morning. We're looking for an 8th grade boys basketball head coach at Snell. Girls assistant powerlifting coach at Cobre. There's a lunch monitor that opened up at Central. It's just a substitute type position. Maintenance groundskeeper. looking forward to having somebody that can really focus on the maintenance and that. There is a math teacher opening at Snell. We do have a plan for that. One of our fellows that is in that fellows program will graduate in December with, I believe, what it is, when I visited with HR, with a certification in the area of math. So we're going to try to hold off. And then that would, I mean, that's the way the program's meant to run. It's meant to be there to where, like, hey, you know what? Let's get these people, let's raise them within. They're certified in the area where we want them. So hopefully they will apply. There was only one other teacher that has applied. It is still listed as open. One other teacher applied. I know the applicant, and I would not trust him with my kids. And I told, if I'm not willing to trust him with my kids, I'm not going to trust him with somebody else's. And they tended to bounce around a lot, and I know why. He was my employee at one time. So we're waiting, and we believe we have somebody that will fill that position and do a great job. Substitutes, always looking for substitutes, teachers, aides, secretaries, cafeteria, custodial, all of that. So, and that's basically the openings we have. One of the other things that we did do over the last, about the last month here, was we did advertise for an associate superintendent. The reason for doing that was there were some tasks that needed to be provided that was not appropriate for other staff members. With so much focus on what I'm trying to get done, I need some help with some of the areas that I need, as far as working with evaluations of principals and being able to help them and guide them. I mean, so much is required from the public education department anymore. It's crazy. I mean, they can attest to the number of things they have to do. I went through and I checked up on every single principal today, and there are things required by the end of the month. And it's tough. They're going to have a tough time completing it. Because there is just so much. And it's a collaborative effort. You know, you've mentioned collaborative efforts. I mean, they develop what's called a professional development plan, and that's done in combination with the principal and the teacher. So you start looking at it, and all of a sudden they've got to do that with every single teacher that's within their building. And so it ends up being quite a handful. And, you know, the high school and the middle school both have a dean of students, which can help, but it doesn't relieve that pressure. So we did hire somebody there, and I guess it's public knowledge, Suzanne Chavarria. We interviewed 5, and there were 2 people with the highest scores. One of those ended up withdrawing, didn't think they could live in the Southwest in a town the size of Cobre and Silver City. And so that made the selection process pretty easy. And so that's what we've done. And they will carry on a lot of the same duties, but with some additional duties as well. And that's basically a personnel update. Any questions?
My congratulations to Ms. Chavita. I think you showed a good person.
And I think I'd emailed you guys saying, you know, I was looking at something like that and why. So, you know, just wanted to make sure you knew about that. So, and then, you know, we talked a little bit about maintenance. Poor Gary, when he comes to this meeting, he gets so flustered. I said, give it to me in writing, buddy. I'll help you out. So they finished all the special projects for now. They're focusing on weed control. Jasmine sent out an email to all the principals letting them know for the first 4 hours of the day, right now while it's still fairly cool, the entire maintenance department, unless there's an emergency, is working on the weeds. They've prioritized that. They've fallen a little behind. They've also, I don't know, well, when Miss Black went out on maternity leave, a few things just sort of got lost in the transition of, you know, who's going to order this, who's not going to order it. So we do have a weed sprayer now that fits on the back of the side-by-side. So they are able to do more than just the little hand sprayer that I use, you know, at my house. So they've really been working on that. And as you saw, maintenance groundskeeper is one of the positions we're looking at. They've hit all the schools, sprayed most of them, but the rain's not helping at all. So they're continue this cycle till they can get caught up. For upcoming projects, there's a fence they're going to put up at Bayard Elementary. We've got a student that is quicker than most of the teachers. And not that the fence will keep them in, but hopefully it will slow them down. And visited with a parent about this situation. And I'm happy to report that we've already got quotes. We've got, I believe we bought the materials and stuff. The fence may be up. I meant to look this morning and I didn't walk around back. But it's one of those things from the playground towards the back, there was an open area, and not that the student could have kept going over the railroad tracks and all of that, but that's where the trash truck comes. It's where the buses come, deliveries and stuff for the cafeteria. So we wanted to make sure that that was safe for, this student that, has some disabilities and stuff, and we wanted to make sure we were doing that, and happy to report that for that parent. So excited about that. Mr. Gropp's working on a newsroom in the 400s at the high school. That includes spraying new epoxy paint on the floor, building a soundproof booth, installing a stage and a green screen background. And that's for, you want to tell them what that's for?
Yeah, that's with our CT pathway that's being funded by the Parsons grant, CTE grant.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Oh, okay.
Please, thank you.
No problem.
Yes, so we have a CTE program. It's called Mass Media, and we identified a room that would be easier for us to transform. And so we're turning that into a news anchor studio for our students. And so all the students are going to run everything from writing the script, we're writing some teleprompters, and, we have Cobre Media already at our football games, basketball games, volleyball games. And so we're going to have ESPN announcers with students, and we're going to buy some jackets for them, like sport jackets for them. Our students are already excited. We already put out our first video last week. I don't know if you guys saw it on Cobre Media. It's really cool, and our students did all of it. And so it's going to be a newscast studio, and we're looking at bringing Snell and all the elementaries once a month, and they can do like a monthly news update and have their students be the anchors as well. And so we're trying to be all-inclusive, but all of our CTE programs, we're trying to move towards where it's all student-run, all student focused. And so we're excited for that. We're excited for Mr. Burnett's class to do that. And our kids are, they're just so pumped about it. And we're trying to do cool things for our students so they feel more welcomed and look forward to going to school. So we're excited for that program. And we're hopefully when we get that studio up, we would love to have the board come in and you guys can talk about whatever you want to talk about, and our students will be interviewing you guys. So it's going to be really cool.
Is your store open?
So we found out that we need to get more power to the machines that we bought. And poor Gary, we always say poor Gary around here, he ordered a new transformer for power, and he asked for 240 volts, and the company sent him 24 volts. And so we're waiting for the transformer to come in so we can get those machines up and running. But we bought 5 3D printers through that CTE grants too, and so we can do like Cobre Christmas ornaments or whatever through the store as well. So once that gets up and going, the store is actually ready to go up, but we just need to start making products, but we can't make products until our machines have power.
Okay. And then he's still waiting on a few motors. Some of our equipment is just so old, air conditioning and stuff, that to find some of the supplies, the motors and that is just, it's getting more and more difficult. So that's that piece. So finally, I lost my agenda. I think my last thing is the PSFA update. And like I said, this stuff came in basically at the last minute. So what this is one of the things that we've talked about, and PSFA, I think the agenda actually talks about 2018 as well as current. I'd like to start with this packet, which goes back to, I think the $1.1 million that was in question. And so the first page is a sign-in sheet from April 13th, 2023. And one of the things that was discussed is the second page, where on the 16th of January, or 18th of 16th of January 2018, Public School Facility Authority, there was a requisition for $1.1 million. And this was a reimbursement to PSFA for project alignment, which was Bayard Elementary School. And what happened was, when this project at Bayard Elementary, that was the gymnasium, is that correct? Part of it. So what happened was, there was not enough funding to complete the project. So PSFA said, you know what, you go ahead and complete the project, we'll foot the bill. When you get your new bond, then you reimburse us. So this was a reimbursement for that, correct? Okay, this was before my time, so I've got to keep referring. So the next sign-in sheet's March 7th, 2023, and Superintendent Spalletta was here at that time. And so the analysis of the bond projects from December 1st, 2017, talked about some of the stuff that was done. So Bayard Elementary School had that renovation that was the $1.1 million, and it was 100% complete. The next, so we're on page 5, is, I hope it's in the same order, is our purchase order to New Mexico Public Schools Facility Authority in the amount of $1.1 million. So that was dated 12/1 of 2017. So that was our purchase order. The 6th page is where it came out of. It's our pay history and encumbrances. And there again, once again, it shows the invoice number, the vendor, being PSFA, and the amount of 1.1 million. And the final page, I'm so happy we got this done, because this has been haunting me since I've been here, is the transfer of funds to PSFA. So I think that's one of the things that has been in question for quite a while. And like I said, we found it. You know, and I think that's what you were asking for, correct?
For 4 years, yes.
Well, we got it, and it only took me 3 months, 4 months. Well, no, it's the staff. It wasn't me. I'm sorry. You know, it wasn't me. It was the staff. They've dug through and they found this stuff. Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. I mean, she's the one dealing in they call it the cockroach room. I'm not sure why, but I don't want to go there. And Daniel, one of Mr. Ryan's staff members. I mean, they spent hours in that room looking and couldn't find anything. And Daniel went and he says, I've got a couple more places I think I can check. So they've done a great job as far as trying to dig stuff up. And I will send this is what I wanted to send to the auditor. And I will send that either later this evening or tomorrow morning. So like I said, thank you to the staff, because it's been a challenge. But I feel we're getting there. It's taking some time. We're learning to look in new places, and quite honestly, and total transparency, there's just a section of stuff that's missing that we can't find, you know, and Daniel's told me, he says, I don't know what happened from this check number to this check number, but we can't find them. But, I mean, we're still looking and still doing that, and we want to get the auditors every single thing they're asking for. And like I said, we're moving forward. And any questions on that?
Thank you. I recall attending these community meetings. I remember the second one very vividly, because we talked about using the leftover money on different projects. And so thank you for, sparking my memory.
Well, like I said, I mean, part of it is just, trying to locate stuff when you aren't the one. Someone, well, that's not true either. I was going to say, Charlene can come into my office and say, where is this? And I can usually find it, but sometimes I can't. But, when you aren't the one that puts stuff away, it's very frustrating. But I can tell you right now, I can take you to the accounts payable files, and they are in order. I mean, they are in there by year. They are in there specific. So, there is a lot of stuff that's, improvements. One of the things I visited with Daniel about today is we have the ability to attach our checks to a lot of the stuff in the system. But the challenge is going to be technology-wise, these are going to make some very large files, and can they be handled? So, like I said, we're in the process of looking for improvement things that's going to make our life, when we get to an audit, a whole lot easier. I mean, if they ask for something, wouldn't it be nice if everything was attached together? And that's one of the things Daniel said, we have this ability, but poor Caitlin, she probably doesn't even know I talked to him about this. But his worry is the storage and how much is it going to take. So, like I said, I'm excited. I did a happy dance. You know, I had to close my door, but you know, I can't dance. But you know, like I said, I'm excited that we've been able to find something that I think has been a question for quite a while, and hopefully it's an answer to some of the questions the auditor may have as well. And any other questions? Can you tell I'm pretty hungry and I'm trying to get out of here? So,
I'm glad to see this, although
Thank you.
I don't remember being at a meeting where any of this was discussed, because I've been looking for that information for such a long time. And that certainly wouldn't have passed me. But anyway, going forward, if this was the case, the only question would be whether we were in compliance with the way it should have been paid back.
Okay. And I did notice your signatures on both of those meeting documents, so, but I mean, I have problems remembering what I had for dinner last night, so that's been several years ago. But I'm glad that's one of the things we can mark off our rear view mirror and move forward. And then finally, if there's no other questions, the fundraising requests, there's a bundle of them there. I don't think I need to read each one of them to you. It's nice to see the support the community has. I can't believe the number of fundraisers, and I can't believe the support that the community provides to them. It's just unbelievable, and I'm happy to be a part of it, and excited to continue. So, any other questions?
No, thank you for your report. That moves us to item 11, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move.
Okay, I'll second. We are adjourned at 6:31 p.m. Thank you.